Thank you, sir.
You did have it double crossing for you, did you?
Yes, she was probably gone.
All right. Call to order the November 18th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. Can we get roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Pitts.
Yes, sir.
Chair McKinley.
Yes.
Commissioner Hilton.
Here.
Vice Chair Dawson.
Here.
Commissioner Fallon.
Here.
You have quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Item 2, adoption of the meeting minutes. Does anyone have any changes or additions? Or do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, before we get started on this, I would like to make sure that everyone on this committee is in touch with what I'm about to say. The last meeting we had never closed, nor was there a vote taken. So this meeting, based on what I believe to be true, is a continuation of that last meeting.
This is a continued public hearing, that's correct.
Yes. For the amendments. Okay. Back to the meeting minutes. Do I have a motion or any changes need to be made?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of last month.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Myself here. All right. Item 3, old business, subdivision ordinance. A and B both had the public hearing continued from last month, so we will continue that into this meeting. We have additional information here in our packets. Do you want to?
Yeah, they're just, I explained either verbally or in the email to you that there basically been 3 drafts. Draft 2 and draft 3 had relatively small number of changes, but we wanted you to have the most updated recommendations, obviously. These are the recommendations also that are on the website. These are just where either we've listened to comments from the public or just staff, myself and the consultant and the county manager thought that some of these minor changes need to be made. So I don't think any of them are major, but we wanted you to have all of them. So just to remind you, the original changes are in red. That's what we started out with. And then after we had some meetings, the blue changes got made, or whatever you want to call that. And then the third one, you'll see boxes around some of the changes, and that's what basically we'll call draft 3. We've all agreed that we're not going to make as staff any more changes. We're going to leave it the way it is. Even as we go, we could come up with even more changes. I could propose more now, but we need to stop at some point and let the Board of Commissioners look at the same stuff and you at the same stuff. So you won't see any more draft changes from staff. This is it. But just know that red is the original, blue is a second round, and then the boxes are round 3. And we just wanted, you can integrate those into the bindings that you were given originally.
That's round 1.
I mean, if I had made, copies all over again, my clerk and I calculate it would have been 900 pages of more photocopying, and we felt that wasn't necessary. But again, happy to talk to about any of these portions that you need an explanation about.
There's a couple of questions I had on that first page, and this was not a change, but on the detached ADU must be located a minimum of 200 foot from the principal dwelling. What's the purpose of the 200 feet minimum? That's putting you in a pretty good way.
I can only speculate because, as you said, that's current law, and that goes back to when it was adopted in 1995. I just guess the idea was if you want this other home that has got a set distance away, what the exact thought was. As you'll see in the other ideas, in the other zoning districts, we did not carry that. We made it 20 because number one, those are smaller lots.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna minimum of 12 acres, okay, well, 200 feet back's not bad. But in the smaller lots, we actually, it was at the consultant's suggestion, and we didn't disagree, the other zoning districts, it's 20.
Oh, yeah, that to me is, I think I would like to see that changed to a lesser minimum. In certain cases where you're building an ADU as a mother-in-law suite or something where you're protecting, trying to tend to ailing parents or somebody, you might want it closer than 200 feet. And then, let's see, this is page 62, where you got a parking of one unoccupied travel trailer, motor coach, or pleasure boat. Item number 11.
On 62. Number 11. Right, so this is in the new section, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right, wait a minute.
I think it was in, there was some wording of that in one of the other ones.
Yeah, it is rural. Yeah, actually, that's current language in the districts now.
Mm.
So he carried it when he redrafted the
Yeah.
rural estate. A lot of these are duplicate of what's already in there.
Yeah, that, one or one of each, is that just one?
Right, we've interpreted, because code enforcement's had to enforce this recently, and we had this discussion with the county manager, yep, one of each. I believe we had code enforcement if you store in more than one
In most cases,
RV.
people are gonna have one of each.
You're saying it needs to say
One of each versus
not-
one.
It reads as
You know,
though
just
you
because
can have
people- you're gonna have
one
one,
of
you've got
those
both,
three
too.
things.
Okay, I got you.
That was my,
Or.
and then also on 14C there, such must not be used as a rental property.
Current law.
Mm.
If you have a second home now,
Mm.
the law from 19, or whenever they adopted that portion said not rental.
Well, as things go nowadays and people, the way they do a lot of things, with VVRO and things like that, I think that may be limiting too. I think that should be removed and let them use it as a rental. And like I said, all those really were some that came from, were in past ones, but I had those circled on my last one also, those particulars.
Sit in.
Yes, come on.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Great. But that's so far what I see here, and as far as when we go back to the size of the lots that we have been discussing, I pretty well support the larger lot sizes. I might be willing to drop as low as 10 acres, but in my opinion, I think that to preserve our rural status and to keep things, the 10 acres I think is ample enough. We get into the sentimental thoughts of, hey, I want to divide this with my children or grandchildren. We can look at those on an individual basis if it's a true fact. But I think that opposition has been brought up to me by a lot of people. But I don't know that for what we're trying to protect, the future growth, that 10 to 12 acres is not too confining, really.
What's Pike County's?
5.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
I would,
Les,
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, with continuing the public hearing last time, we were under the impression that this was something the county was going to do by the end of the year. Based on last week's meeting, that's not the case any longer. Personally, I would like to have the incoming commission chairman and new commissioner be a part of that conversation. They're the ones that's gonna have to live with it and talk to it. My personal opinion is there shouldn't be anything done until that happens. I'm sure there's people that don't agree with that, but that's okay too.
I agree with that, but are we gonna look at this and make a recommendation of some changes from this to the county, to the commissioners, the new board? I like,
I mean, I think, yeah, when the new board gets here, I think we look at this and we let them and us, go back and forth with this and make sure everybody's on the same page with that. But until that happens, I don't know that, I mean, this can change. We're on round 3 now, so this can change. I know you hope it doesn't change anymore, but.
Well, all these changes have come from staff.
Yeah.
This was not the
So-
elected officials, this was,
No, I'm just saying, but as people continue to talk about it, I personally think a lot of people, I was one of them, read your blog thinking it was a done deal. They dropped it, they tabled it. But that's not the case. The only thing they did was move the moratorium and basically delayed it, not tabled it. So, I think a lot of people out there thought that it was done
Yeah.
and not changing. So,
I felt like in essence, they had just tossed it to us because of everything going on.
yeah.
Basically toss it back to us, and, you know,
Well, it ain't really-
you know, if we have recommendations, I think we should bring them up at this point. And, you know, because it's gonna go back to them, so I mean, this is still back and forth. So
Well,
we.
I mean, we can certainly give them recommendations. I don't feel like that we should stamp our copy
Oh, yeah.
until the others are in place.
I'm with you completely. I personally, when I've been here for an hour, I came in early to see if anybody was gonna be here, and we've had, I think, 3 come in an hour when I was here. But that's in our packet, you know, I would really like to see if there's some way that this could get out to the
Absolutely.
county, because I want as much opinion as we can get, instead of a couple or a few saying, this
Absolutely.
is what we want our county to be. I would
I
like
think
that.
the county needs to put that on their Facebook page. I think there needs to be something, if we can, on the radio about it. It needs to be on the county website, and for full transparency. Anywhere we can put it, it needs to be put for people to be able to go out there and,
For me personally, I plan to, depending on how this meeting's going, my plan is I'm gonna have copies sitting at church Sunday, you know? I mean, I think that's a good direction. I'm gonna make that effort on my own to our congregation as many as we can. Now, how many is gonna go up and, you know, pick them up and fill them out? I don't know, but I would really like a wide range of opinions.
absolutely. I totally 100% agree with that.
I want a wide range of opinion, not just a few.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I mean, I have no problem putting this on my Facebook page and letting people share it, but I think it's important for the county to do that. I think they have a Facebook page for that reason. I think putting it on the county website, media talking about it, that it's out there, I think that's important for people. Everywhere we can reach people to get opinions.
Sure.
I think that's
and
important.
Madam Chair, just to clarify, I think you've got this on the front of your binders. This was the survey that was sent out back in August. We got almost no response. Now, this was posted all over. I honestly don't remember how much of it made the newspaper or the radio. It probably was on our website, but anyway, we got so little response, the consultant hasn't even told me what response we got. And of course,
I don't even know
this
what
is
what
this
does
is
that
the
say?
QR.
It's a QR code.
Yeah, but what does it say for them to?
Amendments, you know, we want to hear
There
from
you go.
you,
Your
amendments
thoughts.
to AR
I
zoning,
put my book in.
Yeah.
feedback, and then again, like we did with the comp plan, you got the QR code, which remember, I think the comp plan, we got somewhere between, what, 400 responses?
Is this what's in the QR code?
No,
No.
Yeah.
that was.
See, I don't-
This is my second,
The
this is the
QR
second.
code.
If
just told-
somebody's looking at this one page and they read that, they have no clue what it's talking. I mean, not everybody is reading the fine details like we are.
But also, to piggyback on what Johnny says, the more we reach people, the more information we get out. And I'm gonna reflect back to, what, my name's escaped me now, Rogers. Jennifer Rogers did. She put a chalkboard up around town. She reached out in different feeders to contact people. And I think that's why we need to canvass as much as we can to reach out and not just be in a box.
You know, one of the ladies that came in earlier, and it was mentioned about the QR code, and there's a huge section of our population that little.
They don't
square-
even know what that is.
That little
Absolutely.
square means
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, Joel, you know, your flip phone can't scan a
That flip
QR
phone's not
code.
gonna scan that QR code.
QR code, and so they need
They need this.
this.
This explains to them in language that everybody can understand. When you start talking about AR districts and changing zoning law,
What do you
they
want your
don't.
county to look like? That's what you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
This is what we need to hear.
Yep.
You know, this, I might add that, you know, looking at this piece of paper that has all this information on it, maintain small town character and culture identity while supporting growth. That's a facade. That's not happening in Thomaston, Upson County. The IDA and Upson County Commission will deny small town characteristics and culture ID. Upson County is primarily agricultural. A lot of folks have forgot that. It appears to me that the intent is to deny age farm and agriculture and farm and support high dollar residential. High dollar residential will not support Upson County. What percent of Upson County has water from the county? There's no county water where I live. Maybe where you live, that same thing is true. A parent says no need to protect the resources and farmland. This actually is outside what I see coming to Upson County. I don't see any of the things that I just talked about. And I believe that the county commission should be a little more intense, less intense, listen to the people of Upson County who will not support Upson County Commission plan. County Commission has presented tax base, courthouse leak. This is what we've come to. We've come to the things that I'm just about to talk about. County Commission has presented and done away with what I would call a tax base. We have a courthouse that leaks and the basement floods. We have an unaffordable justice center made possible plastics, trash, drop into Upson County farmland and water supplies. That is not what Upson County, in my mind's eye, should be going to right now. We're out of sync with what Upson County is and has been. The IDA operates somewhat like the Secret Service. They only come out at night.
Okay.
That's all I have to
So-
say.
Based on your thoughts.
Probably said too
then,
much.
Are we looking for a recommendation that we set this aside until the new board is in place, other than trying to get out as much, to gather
I
as much
think that
information?
has to be our priority. I think we can, if we want, we can continue the public hearing. We don't have to keep advertising it, or we don't have to advertise it. It's not hurting anything to keep it open. And as things come about, that allows us and anyone who fills out one of these, where do they send this?
Oh, you don't have the copy, but the copy that I would distribute, it says, give it to the building and zoning department. So if they get it to the county, it'll end up, you got an earlier draft.
Oh,
The
okay.
draft
I was gonna
we have
say,
on
this
the
is the
table.
only page that I got. Okay,
The one on
No,
the
I-
table's got where to return it to us.
okay, okay.
But it does only say building and zoning department. Yeah, you got my first draft. I went out there as my third draft.
Outside here? Okay, I'll pick up one. I think we need to, anybody that's gonna share it, we need to make sure that it has where to send that. But I think that needs to be our focus. And we need to see this, and the county commissioners need to see it. So if we can get copies sent to them and provided to us, then that gives us both entities something to look at going into the first of the year. So if that is the case, for item 3A and B, do I have a motion to continue the public hearing again?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, I think this is sort of, just to inform you a little bit more, but this subdivision came in about 3 weeks before the moratorium. So this is at the intersection of Tryon Mill and Andrews Chapel. So this is 21 new driveways. If you have 2 acres, 2 acres, 2 acres everywhere, that's what that intersection, and this is everywhere that you got AR. This is real, I approved it, they can build this tomorrow, they've got their plat approved. This isn't a concept, this isn't a maybe, this is real. And they beat the deadline. So again, every place you got AR could look like this or something similar to it. And if you think that's fine, then you make a recommendation that says 2 acres everywhere is fine. But, you know, it's a little different maybe when you start to look at what it actually looks like. And certainly coming through that intersection, 21 new driveways, going to be a little rough. But maybe not if you're interested in that. And then last week, we had the very first meeting to discuss 129 house subdivision in the Double Branches area. Now, that's far away from being approved. You may have to have rezoning, we'll see, and they're not anywhere as close to that, and they're, I think, 1 or 2 acre lots, something like that. So it's coming. It's coming. Here's a little one, and the other one's another one. So again, as we say on there, what do you want the county to look like?
What's the address on that one?
There's no, it's 21
Triune Mill
lots.
and Andrews Chapel.
Say again.
Triune Mill and Andrews Chapel.
What'd you say the other one was?
The Double Bridges area. Again, it's just concept. We're a long time from any approvals though, but it's big enough that I call what's called a DRC, a Development Review Committee, and we bring in everybody. We had the school district there, we had the sheriff there, we invited the environmental health, they weren't able to make it. We had the volunteer fire department there, so we try to get every department from the beginning of the concept of this one. Now, they've been talking to me for probably about a year or more, but it finally has gotten to the time where, yeah, we need to let everybody know it's going to have some impact on it, or it'll have an impact on the service they provide. And again, it's very early in that process, but it's coming, it's happening. Some of it's right now, and others is just in development stages.
All right, item 4, we have no new business. Item 5, other business, we have an update on special exception 2024-09, the auto garage, and then rezoning 2024-06 Brown. You have
Madam Chair, yes, the repair garage there at the old Atwater School got approved. The one condition that you recommended got approved as is. Open and shut, very quiet case. Mr. Brown, you remember part of his proposal was during the moratorium. So he had proposed those 12-acre lots and then rezone portion of it, and that's why I came before you to get some of the effects of the R1 as sort of the package deal. Well, and he had told me this from the beginning, that if the rules change, he might want to change his proposal. So during the meeting, when they dropped the moratorium, then he said, well, then I want to look at different lot sizes for my proposal. So he withdrew it. So depending on when he gets back, we may have to re-advertise. Probably will, just to be safe and secure, and then whatever the new development looks like, we'll bring it back to you and we'll take it back through the process. We'll consider it part of the same rezoning application, so we won't make him file a new application and pay the fee, but he's going to revisit what y'all had recommended for approval, and again, you'll probably see smaller lots.
Okay, item B, proposal to withdraw from the Joint Planning Commission.
Madam Chair, you've got the article. I can't give you any better information than the newspaper provided. I was not at that meeting. I had been told a couple of weeks ago that they were thinking about this. Of course, 3 of you sit on that Joint Planning Commission. Again, you can make no recommendation. You might have an opinion, you might not have an opinion. You don't have to do anything with this. And just if you do have an opinion, you want to voice that to the city and the Board of Commissioners, you can. And if you're not going to make a comment, that's fine too. But as half of that board, it's certainly important for you all to know about what's going on.
Yeah, my personal opinion is the county's never, no matter what the 3 of us think, the county's never going to block the city from doing something that they want to do. We've been told that numerous times. So I don't know that it makes a difference one way or the other. Item C, discussion of rural preservation goals and strategies. We've already talked about. That was
The survey, right?
your survey,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Item 6, planning commissioner issues and announcements. Anybody have anything? Nope. 7,
Keep the faith.
keep the faith. Trying to. Secretary's issues and announcements.
Nothing, Madam
No.
Chair.
All right, we might have broke a record tonight. It's the best one since you've been here, isn't it? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
5:56. Thank you very
Can I
much.
ask Mr. Dawson a question?
Sure.
Can I get, is that public, that piece of paper that you had with the recommendations on it? Can I get a copy of that?
The recommendations you,
The sheet.
What you were talking
Yeah, the
about
sheet.
earlier.
Oh, didn't you say
the
something?
survey sheet.
There's a bunch of them on the table.
They'll-
Oh, I didn't- I'm
They'll
sorry.
take, they'll take
You're
outside.
talking about,
Yeah, the sheet.
you're talking about this right here.
Yeah, so I can
Suggestion.
go to my company, I can make some copies. if-
Yeah,
Sure.
they're on the table outside.
They're on the table outside right there.
Be glad to.
Absolutely.
We not, Johnny, have we stopped recording already?
No, we have not.
Please do that for me. I have one other thing I'd like to mention.